should the Pistons embrace what Isaiah Stewart does? Because he's more than just an enforcer, right? He does other things. He's a pretty damn good rim protector. He's a problem on the defensive end. And, we brought up earlier in the week the trade deadline. I know I mentioned Draymond Green. I said I'm against it. But getting Draymond Green would be a bad boys move. It would be embracing the physicality of the game. And it would be going back to a formula that has worked here in Detroit, and that is a gritty, hard-nosed, defensive, physical style that wasn't without other talents, but they became known as that. The going-to-work Pistons became known as it. I mean, I always laugh because we'll go back and I'll do it again. The Tayshaun block, right? The Tayshaun Prince block that gets referenced all the time. I'm doing it right now to go find the video because every time you see that video, it's coming at the end of an Eastern Conference playoff game. I believe it was the Eastern Conference championship game. Yeah, here it is. Indiana leads the series 1-0. It's the fourth quarter, and Detroit leads the game 69-67 with 30 seconds left. Okay? That was an old school style of game.
Not old stool.
Well, not old stool, although I guess it kind of applies. It was an old school basketball game, and the Pistons rode that to a championship. Now, look, they might have their superstar in Cade Cunningham, and they might have an enforcer and a player that is a defensive standout in Isaiah Stewart and others. But I guess we asked the question earlier, and I ask it again: can you win this way in the NBA? Would the NBA let you win this way if they embrace this stuff? Because right now they're getting pushed around a little bit. They're getting picked on, and they can't do anything about it. But as their players get better, they'll be able to do something about it.
Well, every time the Pistons have crashed the party, it's been with a different style. See, I mean, clearly the league isn't the same as it was 20 years ago. It wasn't the same as it was 30 years ago. But that doesn't mean the Pistons can't do it a different way as well. And they may not be the same way as the Golden-to-Work Pistons or the Bad Boy Pistons, but like I said, when they crash the party, They crash it their way. And so, I think if the Pistons are able to do it, there's gonna be some physicality to it. It's not gonna be the same. But you talk about Draymond Green, he's old and busted right now. But Beef Stew, he could be the new version of their Draymond Green, and you're gonna need a guy like that or two. And then you want to mention the skill and the flash and the scoring. Well, that's where Cade Cunningham comes in, and whoever Trajan Langdon brings in to work alongside him. Maybe it's a Jaden Ivey, right, when he gets healthy. Maybe it's someone at the trade deadline this year. But the thing, or Asor Thompson, someone they already have on the team. But yes, they can do it their way again. You won't just be able to be as physical, but I think there's an element to that game that still can exist. What happened last night, you don't want your players getting technical fouls and ejected from games frequently. You don't want the other team to see that they can get under your skin.
Yep.
But at that point in the game, it was over. And I think Beef had enough. And he was like, listen, you guys can't talk this crazy talk the entire game without us doing something about it. And that's what Bickerstaff and kind of said after the game.
Well, let's get to that because I promised we'd get to it. It was J.B. Bickerstaff after the game. Isaiah Stewart gets ejected in the second quarter. And, I mean, he was pissed. He pointed back at the Pacers bench, and I think is in a way of saying, I'm putting a pin in this moment, and I will remember this moment. And I absolutely loved as he was getting booed. He just held out his jersey. It said Detroit on the front because that's wearing your heart on your sleeve. But J.B. Bickerstaff, head coach after the game, said this. Okay, I mean, he is basically asking the media to go find out what was said in public, make it public. What the hell was said? What the hell was said? And was it said by, the usual suspects, Miles Turner or Pascal Siakam, or was it said by the guy that Beef Stew went after in Thomas Bryant?
Now, there's an argument to be made that no matter what is said to you, you have to keep your emotions in check.
Without question.
And I get that to a point. But also, I think the refs, I think that Bickerstaff is also talking to the refs, Doug, saying, hey, man, it's kind of your guys' job as well to keep things under control. Like, otherwise, stuff like that's going to happen. And you know how like they throw out those technicals or the warnings, the refs try to, hey, this game's getting chippy, it's getting out of control. I think maybe he's like, listen, you can't let them talk crazy like that because we're not going to stand for it as a team. I think Bryant flopped a little bit. Was it a flagrant?
Dude.
Sure. My man went flying, and all of a sudden he felt a lot better and ready to fight when Beef Stew was already at the end of the court.
Dude, this has nothing to do with really anything. I just found it highly irritating. Here's a guy who's on his back, sprawled out, but the moment he gets surrounded, he wants to fight.
Hold me back.
Yeah.
Hold me back.
You waited till you could get held back to tell people to hold you back. Okay there, tough guy. I mean, it was a total eye roll at that point.
So, but what Beef Stew has to do is control his emotions and use it for a positive. And whatever they said, if they say it again, he can't react like that. He can't. But I think at this moment, I think where the Pistons are right now is they're still growing and still developing, and this is part of that process, And I think the process is right now we're not going to get pushed around. And eventually the next process is we're going to start beating you on the court.
Yep.
And they have put up together more wins this year than they have ever before. So I think we're seeing progression. It's not all going to happen in one season. And the way other players play Beef Stew, because he's a big, strong guy, they box out kind of like the way he does, except that he doesn't flop. He kind of takes it. He takes on the contact, and they fight for position. Like they used to do in basketball, but nowadays it's a foul hunting league. Everyone's looking for the foul shots. Everyone's looking to flop. Everyone's looking, oh, he hurt me,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a different topic maybe in itself about ratings and viewership, but I think Beef does have to change his style of play, but I think it can be used to their advantage.
248-539-9797. Piston fans, do you want to see him go down this road again and develop this persona, this tough guy, physical persona that is really Beef Stew at the point of that attack, or is it old and busted? They shouldn't do it.